Good morning, students. Welcome back, 10th grade biology. Today, in this module, let us learn our environment animated video conversation between Earth and astronaut.
You look weak and tired.
So much pollution around. I feel sick. But who are you?
I'm Mark, an astronaut, and I have been sent on a space mission. Industrialization and technology have changed the environment.
Let me take you on an environmental tour to show you why I feel choked and unwell. I will show you how various factors in the environment interact with each other and how human beings impact the environment. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to explain what an ecosystem is, identify the role of the producers, consumers, and the decomposers in the food chain, and list a few of the environmental problems caused by our negligence. The environment comprises the air you breathe, the water that covers the surface, the animals and the plants around you, and much more. The environment is made up of various ecosystems like gardens, lakes, forests, etc. An ecosystem is a place where living organisms and the non-living components of the environment interact with each other. All organisms, such as plants, animals, microorganisms, and human beings, as well as the physical surroundings, interact with each other and maintain a balance in nature. All these living organisms in an area interact with the non-living constituents of the environment, and such interaction is referred to as ecosystem. Thus, an ecosystem consists of biotic components comprising living organisms and abiotic components comprising physical factors like temperature, rainfall, wind, soil, and minerals.
It looks wonderful from here. But are there any specific roles that each of these animals play in the ecosystem? Or do they all contribute equally to the ecosystem?
Organisms in the ecosystem are grouped as producers, consumers, and decomposers based on the manner in which they sustain themselves in the environment. Producers are organisms that produce their own food without the help of any other organisms. They make their food from inorganic substances. They are also known as autotrophs. All green plants and certain blue-green algae, which can produce food by photosynthesis, come under this category. Consumers are organisms that cannot produce their own food and depend on producers for their food. Consumers are known as heterotrophs. They depend on autotrophs for their food. These organisms consume the food produced either directly from the producers or indirectly by feeding on other consumers. Consumers can be classified as herbivores, carnivores, omnivores, and parasites. Decomposers help to decompose the dead remains of organisms. In the process, complex molecules are broken down into simpler molecules.
If they decompose the dead remains, how does it help the ecosystem?
The decomposed material is used up by other organisms, primarily plants, as nutrients for their sustenance. Let me sum it up. Decomposers are also known as organisms of decay or saprobes. They are microorganisms that break down the dead remains and waste products of organisms that can be used by other members of the ecosystem. Bacteria and fungi are examples of saprobes. We have spoken about the groups of organisms in an ecosystem. This brings us to a series or a chain.
What is this chain?
It is a flow of energy from one species to another, to yet another, and so on. You have seen organisms that feed on one another to sustain themselves in the ecosystem. This develops a food chain in the ecosystem. Food chains describes the feeding relationships between organisms within an ecosystem. Let us take this chart as an example. It depicts the different organisms that are connected in an ecosystem. The arrows in the chart connect the lower level organism that is consumed by the higher level organism.
This seems to show the flow of energy transfer. The way energy is passed from the producer to the consumer?
Correct. Each step or level of the food chain forms a trophic level. Trophic levels are categorized as per their feeding behavior. The autotrophs or the producers, that is, the plants, are at the first trophic level. The herbivores or the primary consumers, like bees, insects, come at the second level. Small carnivores like rats, snakes, or secondary consumers come at the third level, and larger carnivores like an eagle or tertiary consumers form the fourth trophic level. Did you know that a huge amount of energy is lost at each stage in the food chain?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Why do we eat?
To get energy.
The food you eat acts as fuel and provides energy for work. This energy is passed on to the various trophic levels right from the producers to the tertiary consumers. Autotrophs capture the energy present in sunlight and convert it into chemical energy. This energy supports all the activities of the living world. From the autotrophs, the energy through the food chain goes to the heterotrophs. So, when one form of energy is changed to another, some energy is lost to the environment in forms such as solid waste, movement energy, and heat energy, which cannot be used again. Therefore, only a small amount of energy is transferred to the next